Texas fan, Sooner Nation, welcome to episode 53 of the Bevo Podcast, the only podcast exclusively dedicated to covering the greatest rivalry in college football, the University of Texas and the University of Oklahoma. I'm John Whitson. I'm here with my man Kevin Miller. We're going to talk spring game from OU, do a little more spring game recap from Texas since last time. We're going to talk NFL draft, which is happening tomorrow as of this taping. But first, Aaron Rodgers to the New York Jets. Kevin, is he the savior of the New York Jets? Is he going to bring them back to Broadway Joe level prominence? And does he guarantee the win?
No, he does not. He absolutely does not guarantee the win. I don't think he was great last year. Now, look, he is still a massive improvement over Zach Wilson or anybody else they have at the position. But I don't think he guarantees them anything, but it's going to be fun to watch.
I'm here for it. Who is more drama, Aaron Rodgers or Zach Wilson's mom?
You know what? I got to go with Aaron Rodgers because, she only had the one thing that I've heard about her. So.
Oh, dude, she's got a ton of stuff. She's a real weirdo. She's a huge weirdo. But I'll tell you what, I like it because I got so sick of hearing him at Green Bay. So maybe just the change of pace and the change of scenery will make him exciting to watch again. Because I just kind of got, bored. And he's not really a boring player, but I kind of got bored with it. I got kind of bored of Aaron Rodgers and the whole story and blah, blah, blah.
And it's funny because remember back in 2006, 2007, every season Brett Favre would take us through the same, I don't know if I'm going to retire, I don't know if I'm going to do this, I don't know. Every year is this drama. Then there's footage of him throwing to high school kids in Mississippi while he decides what he wants to do, all this drama. Well, somehow Aaron Rodgers has turned into Brett Favre. It's the exact same thing. 17, 18 years later. Pretty crazy.
How long does he have to play? How long did Favre play with the Jets?
I think he was only with the Jets for that 1 year, and then he ended up going to Minnesota. It was a lot better for him there.
Golly.
They could one bad throw away from making the Super Bowl.
Oh, I know. That was a heck of a game. Adrian Peterson, that would have been his shot at a Super Bowl, probably his best chance.
My guy Sid Griffin, too, on that team.
Other news of note with a little tie into Oklahoma. Okay, a big tie into Oklahoma. Trae Young with the big-time NBA playoff win last night to beat the Boston Celtics to stay alive in the East. Why does Oklahoma fan get so disinterested by Trae Young?
You're going to have to answer that one for me, man. I don't know. Trae can be frustrating, though. The way he plays can be frustrating. Sometimes he takes too many of those 30-foot threes. His three-point shooting percentage has not been very high this year. Remember when he came into the league, there were some Steph Curry comparisons with him? Because
he's not that good a shooter. Yeah, he's not.
No, he's not. He shoots in the 30s from three, where Steph is over 40% for his career. So I think that, and sometimes the way he turns the ball over, a little careless, he shows absolutely no effort at all defensively. So maybe that turns players off or fans off.
So maybe I didn't have to explain it to you because it sounds like you just explained it to me. I think you're absolutely right.
I'm not an OU fan, though. Well, I don't know how, why you guys feel that way. This is just me as a basketball fan.
Because everything you just described is exactly what occurred in his 1 year at Oklahoma, right?
Yeah.
Yes, the highlight shots were fantastic, and the good was so good. Like, it was so good. But the defense, the ineffective shooting, the turnovers, they were just we couldn't win ball. If you couldn't win ball games with who was believed to be at the time one of the best players in the country, because he was
He was absolutely.
And he was must-see TV for ESPN. They loved the Trae Young story, the whole deal. But it just, I don't know, man. He never endeared himself to Oklahoma fans, largely, I think, out of just not winning that year he was here. And then in the NBA, it's just more of the same. You see it, and it kind of sucks, though, right? Because he's Norman kid, Norman North High, committed to stay home. He could have gone anywhere. He could have gone
Kansas, anywhere.
Anywhere he could have gone anywhere he wanted to go. And to stay at Oklahoma should have just earned him all of our admiration, and it didn't. Does Texas have a player like this in either basketball or football where he's a good player, recognized as a good player, but just really doesn't hold the heartstrings of the Texas fan base?
I mean, the first person I thought of when you said that was Chris Sims back in the day.
Yeah, you said that Chris
Sims.
He
was never a star in the NFL like Trey. Like Trey, for all his faults, he is a perennial all-star, right? But Chris Sims was never that good. But there's always just a weird disconnect.
Well, you said Chris Sims doesn't even come back to games, right? He doesn't come back to spring games or anything, right?
No. I haven't seen or heard of Chris Sims being in Austin since he left. Now, he did go out to the Rose Bowl for the national championship game against Alabama after the 2009 season. I saw him out there, but haven't seen him. And maybe he has been, but I don't remember it.
But, but even with all of that, for the people that are listening, maybe outside of the local Norman area, Trae Young gives back to the local community. He's always back in Oklahoma. He's got a Trae Young athletic center being built
that
here in Norman.
Massive, by the way.
Oh, it's ginormous, dude. And so it's like he does all the right things and says all the right things, but it just comes off in a really weird way. And like even when he makes a shot against the Celtics, instead of being like, oh man, like Oklahoma fans saying to each other, oh, did you see Trae's shot yesterday? It's more like, I saw it. Okay. And it's just weird to me.
After all this that we're saying, he is a bright lights performer, right? He does some pretty big things in some big moments. He did it last year against the Knicks in the playoffs, or was that 2 years ago against the Knicks in Madison Square Garden. So it's fun to watch. If he can just be more consistent and show more effort defensively, I think he'd be one of the best players in the
NBA. They're not beating Boston, so I don't think it matters. But maybe next year. Do you think they're trading him? Is Atlanta?
Boston should have closed them out last night, and they gave him a chance. And all this does is wear them down because they got to play Philly next round.
Oh, that's going to be tough. Does Atlanta trade Trae Young?
I've heard that. I've heard whispers about that. I don't know, man. I mean, a change of scenery may be good for him and for them. The potential said the guy averages 26 a game.
I think sometimes if you're a team that doesn't have a great identity or culture of winning, that maybe you just need to ride your all-stars as long as possible. I mean, they had Dominique Wilkins for all those years, and you never thought they were going to win the East, but you always knew they had Dominique Wilkins. That was their deal, and it was a very effective way to identify their team and all of that. And I think sometimes some of these teams that, Atlanta, you're never winning. I don't, you know what I mean? Just embrace the fact that you have a pretty exciting player and don't trade him away, especially in conference like the Knicks or something like that.
Correct. But I mean, they did trade away Dominique Wilkins, just so you know.
At the very end, though. Where did he go at the end?
The Clippers? He ended up on the Spurs for a little bit, too, at the end. Do you remember that? Maybe 95 or something like that?
God, maybe. But you remember, can we remember Dominique Wilkins' brother?
Yes. Was it Stacey? No. Stacey Wilkins? Something that's close to that.
Nope. Gerald.
Wilkins, yeah, absolutely.
Gerald Wilkins, yeah, the lesser talented of the Wilkins brothers. Anyway, I don't know. Trae Young is just a weird Sooner. We should embrace him more, I guess. I don't know what should means. You would think he'd be embraced more. He's not. It's weird.
Well, it's hard, man, because it's like when Texas had Kevin Durant. You have this all-time great player, and then you lose in the second round of the tournament. It just would have been nice to see. Same with Trae. It would have been nice to see them go on at least a Sweet 16 run.
If I'm remembering correctly, we lost to Rhode Island in overtime in the first
round, right?
And I think we were the first game. We were like an 11-08 kick tip off against Rhode Island.
That's the worst, man. You're just out of there like that.
Oh, I was at a sports bar. I was done by 2. All right. Shifting gears to the Oklahoma spring game. Kevin, I took some time. I actually listened to most of it when it was happening on the radio because I was driving back from a Tulsa soccer game. So I rewatched it today just to kind of confirm what I had heard, right? So I could say, so I could talk about it a little more. But I also just wanted, like, I had these thoughts in my mind about what I thought was really cool about the game and who I thought showed out. And then I watched it, and it really did verify it. The dudes that showed out, that really popped, the 3 transfers, Rondell Bothroyd, Reggie Pearson, and Deshaun McCullough. Those 3 guys are dudes. I mean, they are the real freaking deal. And they are, I don't know, is it hyperbole to say they're already the best 3 defensive players on our team?
I wouldn't think so. I mean, you still have Billy Bowman back there at safety.
You have Billy Bowman. You got Billy. You're right. You do have Billy Bowman, but like, I mean, I'm just telling you, dude. McCullough was all over the field. He was all over the field. Pearson.
How long have we been talking about this? Since the moment the transfer portal opened, and he was a name who was linked to OU. I told him, if he comes to OU, you should be excited. You hear that he came from Indiana. You're like, oh, Indiana. Like, no. This guy was committed to Ohio State for almost a year. The only reason he went to Indiana because his dad was on the coaching staff. Look, he could have gone to Georgia, Alabama, USC, any school in the country.
He physically looks like he's an Alabama player.
Yeah.
Okay? We all have this, I mean, for better or worse, I know that we're Oklahoma and we're Texas and we don't take second place to anybody, blah. It doesn't matter. Alabama's been the standard for the last 15 years. We just, come on. He, especially on the defensive side of the ball, he looks like he should be in an Alabama uniform. And I mean that as a compliment.
Yeah.
He is tall and strong and big and always attacking. I mean, to be able to see it, I don't know if this is an overreaction. Maybe it is. People might, tweet us or put in the comments it's an overreaction. I don't think it is. Then you got Pearson, and then you got Bothroyd, who I got to tell you, we talked about this on the last episode. It made Ethan Downs a complete afterthought. Like, I didn't even think about Ethan Downs on the defensive line. Once I saw Bothroyd out there, I'm like, I don't even want to see 40 out there. Those two dudes are on the complete opposite spectrum of talent right now. And it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to see that. Kevin, I don't know if you know this, but you have lost your video. So if you're watching, there he is. Nobody wants to lose Kevin Miller's video. They're not watching.
As long as you can hear me. We'll leave it at that.
I mean, am I wrong that those 3 guys were just absolute studs?
No, I thought they were great. I thought they were great. I've been talking about McCullough for months now, right? And Pearson, I mean, this dude is a huge impact player. The OU game against Texas Tech last year, we saw him, how physical he was. And also, he was the one who stripped the ball from Bijan Robinson in overtime when Texas played at Tech. And remember that game went to overtime? He gets the ball. Pearson's the one who stripped him, which led to the game-winning field goal for Tech.
I guess Pearson wasn't the best defensive player on Tech's team. I've said that now for a while. But he was the best returning defensive player on their team, right? I guess the kid that's
correct. Yeah, Tyree Wilson. Yeah.
Yeah, the defensive end was the best player. But I'm telling you what, man, this Pearson kid, these guys were flying around. And I say that to say this is how you want to utilize the transfer portal, right? You have a need on the defensive side of the ball. You have a need at secondary and a need in at that cheetah position. Dude, they went and, I mean, they filled those holes. And there's other needs, obviously, with Stogner and all that stuff. But defensively, it was great. Jackson Arnold, he looked good. I thought when he had a little bit of time, I thought he slung the ball around fine. It would have been interesting to see him with the one offensive line a little more.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, look, he's a number 2 quarterback, right? So you need to play with the number 2s. You're playing against the number 1s half the time. The offensive line can't protect. I know he had that run. People will say it was a touchdown. I think he would have got stopped early. But either way, on that run, though, even though it wouldn't have been a touchdown, you can see the athleticism, right?
Yeah, I like the athleticism. When he did have a little bit of time, I thought he looked really comfortable slinging the ball around. Dylan Gabriel looked about like Dylan Gabriel. Like, I don't know. He's just, that's.
Yeah, listen, at this point, Dylan Gabriel just is who he is, right? And I think he's a very good college football quarterback. Now, I don't know if he's a guy that can say, hey, everybody jump on my back and I'll carry you to the finish line. I think Kyler was like that. Baker was too. to a lesser extent Jalen Hurts, but I don't think Dylan Gabriel's that. But as long as he has the weapons around him, I think he'll be a good player.
I feel like Jalen Hurts is more that in the pros than he ever was at Oklahoma.
He really is, but I will say when he got to, we talked about this before, right? But when he got to Oklahoma, I didn't think he was even a draftable player, and then he leaves after 1 year as a second-round pick. It's a great story, man.
Well, I continue to hear the rumors that Tanner Mordecai had him beat out, but he got hurt.
Really?
I don't know what that means.
I don't know. Yeah.
I mean, we saw Mordecai have some good seasons since, but I don't think there's not a quarterback battle, not like there is one at Texas. But if we were to lose a game on this weak ass schedule, then I think there's a quarterback battle. I think you'd literally hear Oklahoma fans call for a change at quarterback the minute we lost a game.
Even if it had nothing to do with him. I don't think if he threw five.
I don't think he could throw 5 touchdowns if we lost on this schedule. That they would call. Now, does that mean the coaches would do anything about it? Probably not. But I just think, I think that Dylan Gabriel is fine as long as we win. Like as long as we win, he's good.
Now, so you think one game, not even like if the season's lose 2 games.
Dude, you and I talked about the schedule yesterday, just in conversation. The schedule's weak. Like it's terrible. And so one loss effectively eliminates Oklahoma from any kind of playoff consideration. I really believe that because their strength of schedule is just going to be terrible. And so we're going to consider it a lost season if we lose one game. And maybe not the Texas game. Okay, maybe that's the only one. That's the hardest game on the schedule. Maybe not the Texas game. But every other game, if we were to lose it, we would be like, you know what? Season's over. Let's see Jackson Arnold. I believe that, dude. I really, really do.
Yeah. Well, I think if I was an OU fan, I wouldn't want to rush him out there. I think he's going to play regardless. No matter how good Dylan Gabriel looks, Jackson Arnold will play. Like, there's not going to be a red shirt for him this year. I just don't see that. But I think Gabriel would have to really be in some trouble, throwing interceptions, just missing on throws, which we did see from him last year, right? He did miss on a few throws in some big moments.
Well, I thought he missed a little bit in the game. So speaking of interceptions, that brings us to the other true freshman, opposite Jackson Arnold and Peyton Bowen. Great interception.
Incredible.
Taking advantage of his opportunities. I mean, it's the playmakers are what we need in that defensive backfield, right? It's just not even
to see a wide receiver track a ball like that.
Absolutely.
You hope for your wide receiver to track a ball like that.
And the way he positioned Andrell Anthony out on that was perfect coverage. Like he literally bodied him off the ball, which was really great to see. So I was excited for Bowen, but that's the problem with these stupid spring games, though, right? Is like, was it a great interception or a bad throw? I still contend.
Did the receiver not fight for the ball?
Yes.
You hear on that.
But at the same time, Anthony's supposed to be your speedster, and you basically he underthrew him. Like throw the ball out there. Like let him run past Peyton Bowen.
So what do you think this means for the OU defense going forward? Like, what kind of improvement do you expect? Do you expect to see some improvement, monumental improvement? I think we came back at last year. You're in the 100s in pretty much every category. Stopping the run, stopping the pass, points allowed, everything.
I think similar to Texas last year, we should be in the top 25 or 30 in defense, total defense. If nothing else, because of our schedule. Again, it's just there for the taking. The other thing is, you're adding. So if you have 11 starters and 3 of those guys are top level D1 talent, which Bothroyd, Pearson, and McCullough are. You're getting rid of guys.
Stutzman, man.
I think Stutzman's good. No, I think. Listen, I think Stutzman and Kanik are great. Are really, really good, solid in the middle line. I really, really do. I think they're good. I like Kanik. I think Kanik will eventually be an improvement over Agwebu. I don't know if that'll happen on week 1, but I think Kanik is going to be an improvement over Agwebu. Okay. Right? The guy seems to be a little more in it. But because he made some good plays too. But for me, like when I think about the defense, I kind of think about two areas, like the position group that I'm excited about and the position group that makes me nervous. To say that the position group I'm excited about on the entire team is the secondary, I mean, that says a lot about where I think the defense is coming, since last year.
Yeah.
Right? Because now just think about these guys. McCullough is in the cheetah position. I guess you consider him secondary because he drops back in a lot of pass coverage.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of
whatever we
do everything kind of position, right? You rush, you drop, you know.
Yeah, so whatever we call him, I think you can safely say McCullough is in the secondary. And then you got Pearson at strong safety, I think.
Yeah.
You got Peyton Bowen at free safety. But then as soon as I wrote that down, I forgot Bowman didn't play because Bowman was hurt. And I'm like, oh, well, wait a minute. You got Bowman at free safety. So where's that guy going in? And then I started looking at all the corners. And you got Woody Washington, I think pretty much has one side locked down. But on the other side, you've got Gentry Williams, Spears Jennings, Damon Harmon, Josiah Wagner. I mean, you got a lot of dudes.
Yeah.
I guess I'm a little nervous about the backside corner. But I mean, and we didn't even talk about Harrington. Like, Harrington hasn't even made the starting. And Key Lawrence, those are two dudes that had a lot of playing time last year. And I don't think they're going to be starters this year. At least not full-time, all 12-game starters.
Yeah, you got depth. I mean, this makes such a huge difference from last year. The talent level is completely elevated. So, yeah.
Well, I mean, if you got McCullough, Pearson, Bowen, and Bowman, just those four in some combination out on the field or 3 out of the 4 or whatever, just in those are 4 newcomers. You've added 4 playmakers, 4 ball hawks, 4 dudes that will hit, 4 dudes that will do all the things that Justin Broyles last year wouldn't do. Even as much as we like Deshaun White, I think McCullough is he's a monumental improvement over Deshaun White. I think Deshaun White was fine, but let's not forget this team went 6-7, right? How fine were they, So to have that improvement, man, I'm excited about it. On the flip side, you've been quizzing me for the last 2 or 3 episodes about the wide receivers. I started to feel a little pain when I watched that game and listened to it on the wide receivers. Farouk didn't really show out like I hoped he would. Andrell Anthony, I don't know. They gave a lot of passes to Stoops and Freeman, but no big passes. Jaden Gibson still looks lost to me. I don't know, man. But we do have your transfer, Brennan Thompson. But again, I don't know that he's a dude that we're expecting to come in and be a number 1 receiver.
That's one thing with him. I don't know how ready he is to contribute. I mean, he can run a go route. You can get into him in screens, get him in space because he's so fast. But we'll see. Yeah, I think for me, that was my biggest concern for you on the entire roster. And it has been because I've literally been asking for the last 2 months.
But he's not. But Brandon Thompson, we talk. It sounds like the safest statement about Brennan Thompson is we've added the fastest player on our team.
Correct.
Okay, and great. Speed, you can't coach speed, right? I mean, that's what they say anyway. So we'll see where he fits in, but he's not just a lockdown number 1 receiver. And Farouk, I hope he is. I think he could be, but he didn't look like it on Saturday. So I don't know. We'll see. Moving on. To the University of Texas. We talked about your spring game last time, if I recall.
Yeah, preview.
But in the same, or have we not done a review? We've done a review. We did a review, didn't we?
No, we did a preview. Our last episode was 2 days before Texas spring game.
Oh, very nice. Okay. Well, break it down for me, Kevin Miller. Let's go.
All right, man. Well, Quinn Ewers thought he looked pretty good out there. I think he showed that he had a bit more command on the offense. He looked a little bit more comfortable than he did at any point last season. Obviously, it's a spring game, right? I try not to get too caught up in the spring game, good or bad, because at the end of the day, it's a glorified practice, 1 of 15. But we only see what we see, right? This is all that we see. So I thought he looked comfortable out there. I thought he spread the ball around to the receivers. So yeah, I thought he had a pretty good showing. Texas didn't put out an official stat sheet for theirs, but for what I showed Ewers was 16 of 23 for 195 yards and a touchdown. So he looked pretty good. The running game, which obviously you lose two running backs, Bijan, historically good back, and then Roshan, who's a very good back too. So you kind of had a running back by committee going. Jaden Blue, redshirt freshman out of Houston, 10 carries for 52 yards and a touchdown. He had a big run. The freshman, Cedric Baxter, who we talked about on here, 5-star guy out of Florida, really couldn't get going. He was going up against the first team defense, playing on the second team, 11 carries for 28 yards, so not a lot of room for him. So receiving, A.D. Mitchell, transfer out of Georgia, who's kind of the big play guy, 6'4", kind of what Texas has been needing. 6 catches for 58 yards, kind of made a circus, one-handed catch for a touchdown. The throw from Ewers, I thought the throw was going out of the back of the end zone. He jumped up, snatched it down with one hand. So it was exciting to see him. Jordan Whittington, who it looked like was going to go to the NFL, but he decided to come back at 5 catches for 59 yards. He looked good. Xavier Worthy, 4 catches for 83 yards. So all in all, the passing game with Ewers' first team offense looked pretty good. So
on your second team though, did Malik pass Arch? Did Malik secure the backup role with
you know what? I don't know
Twitter,
but he looked really good. And here's the thing: this is the first time we've ever seen him play. Right? He was a freshman last year. He was injured almost the entire season. This is his first spring, so it's the first time we've ever seen him in a Texas uniform on the field. So man, he looked really good. He's a big kid. 6'4", 235 pounds, with a really strong arm. So yeah, he made a couple of really nice deep throws.
No,
so he looked good.
Listen, dude, Twitter was going crazy for him, and that's awesome for him. But what does that do to the psyche of your backup quarterback? And is there any threat to Quinn Ewers from Malik Murphy?
I don't think so. No, I don't think he has enough experience yet. He's still a year behind in the offense. So, man, I just don't see it. I don't see anybody but Quinn starting for Texas this year.
Who is the backup? Okay, I won't put you on the spot for day one, but who is the backup going into camp?
Oh, Malik Murphy is.
Really? Okay.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I'm fine with that. I've been telling you this. You don't understand there's going to be a quarterback controversy. Sark already named Quinn the starter after the spring game. It's safe to say that Quinn Ewers is going to be our starting quarterback. Yes. First of all, Arch, I have no idea what Arch can do because Jackson Arnold was playing against the second team defense. He's playing for the second team. Arch is playing with the third team. He was out there with walk-ons. His first pass was to a guy I literally have never heard of.
He didn't look great though, right?
He didn't.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, of course. But his performance was very similar to Jackson Arnold, except for when Jackson Arnold came in and played with the first team on that last drive. He looked really good playing with the ones.
Yeah.
We saw Arch playing on the third team, playing against the first team defense. I think every time he dropped back, he got sacked probably 5 times. He had literally no time at all. I think he ended up 5. I think he was 5 of 13 throwing the ball. Let's see.
No, I don't think you can take too much away from that for Arch.
Yeah.
But I find the Malik Murphy really fascinating because everything has been Quinn and Arch, at least from an Oklahoma perspective, on Oklahoma radio.
No, it's been like that for Texas fans even.
So to add Malik Murphy back into the mix, I don't know, man. I just think I don't know, maybe it's going to put some pressure on Quinn. Maybe he's going to, cause him to tighten up.
Well, first of all, I think Quinn needs pressure. Because
you think he's too comfortable? You think he's too comfortable?
Here's the thing with Quinn. Remember, he hasn't played football before last year. He played like 6 games his junior year. Hadn't played since. He came in. Everything he does, he just looks so kind of casual doing it. I think he needs pressure. I think he needs to be pushed.
Okay.
And from everything I'm hearing behind the scenes, saw him cut his hair. Apparently, he's changed his diet. He looks better, right? He looks better. Apparently, he's been working hard, digging into the playbook. Again, none of this will matter until the actual game starts. But from behind the scenes, I think the arrival of Arch Manning and then the emergence of Malik Murphy is causing Quinn Ewers to step up his game. That's exactly what he needs to do. That's exactly what he has to do.
Yeah, I think he does, man, because the problem is you play Alabama in game 2.
Yeah.
Now, what's interesting is Alabama doesn't have Bryce Young.
They don't have Bryce Young.
They don't, and if they didn't have Bryce Young last year, y'all win that game. You should have won the game anyway, maybe.
In
right?
spite of that, yeah, but he made some incredible plays. Go back and watch the highlights of that game.
Oh no, I don't have to. In the fourth,
I watched him again recently, and I'm like, oh my god.
No, in the fourth quarter, you were reminded why he was the defending Heisman Trophy winner. Like he absolutely was the best player on the field in the fourth quarter. And if they didn't have him, I mean, y'all win that game. And so it makes me now you're playing at Alabama. It makes me think my goodness, does Texas have a chance? Like last year, everybody said no chance. You lose by 1 or whatever.
It was a 20-point spread last year.
This year, what do you think? I mean, do you think when you roll in with a 2-year Quinn at starter, healthy for the entire game, Malik in the backup role, and now you've added some playmakers, that you have a legit shot at beating Alabama in Bama?
I think there's a small chance. Right, it's still Alabama. Right, they're still going to have dudes everywhere. Now, from what I'm hearing out of Alabama is they're not happy with their quarterbacks. Saban is not happy with their quarterbacks.
I heard he was shopping on the portal.
Yeah, I heard he was trying to bring in the Notre Dame quarterback, hit the portal. So I'm hearing they might get him the lock.
Wait, which Notre Dame quarterback? Not the one that started for him last year.
I think it was one of the guys who started a few games for them last year.
Not the big bulky kid.
It's Tyler. Is it Tyler Buckner?
Tyler
Buckner.
Yeah. I was not impressed. I was not
portal. Excuse me. Yeah, Tyler. Yeah, me neither. But yeah, they said.
Is that him? I don't think that's him. I don't think. I think it's a different
number 12. Okay.
No, that's a different guy. That's not the one that I wasn't impressed with.
Okay. Yeah. So this guy. Notre Dame also, they got in Sam Hartman, who was a Wake Forest starting quarterback last year. He's now at Notre Dame. So these two guys were competing. Well, after spring, Tyler Buckner entered the transfer portal. I thought he entered the portal because he thought he was going to lose a job. And maybe he is, but I'm here. He's being hosted by Alabama. He's in Alabama today.
Where did Tommy Rees go as the OC?
Alabama.
Listen, that's fine, but I did not love Notre Dame's offense last year. I was going to
say that. I can't stand their scheme was not good at all. It was almost unwatchable. Well, it was rough.
Let's not forget how bad they were. And so, like, if this Buckner kid couldn't even secure the starting spot at Notre Dame on a very average Notre Dame team, how can that be the guy that Alabama's chasing? My point in all of this is you're well positioned. You're well positioned for it. It's a little. It's not reminiscent, but didn't you? It's a little reminiscent to Oklahoma and Ohio State, right? We get beat by Ohio State at home, but then the next year we go up there and then we beat them, and everybody's surprised. Yeah, it was a great game. I was there. It was fantastic. Best road trip ever. But my point being, nobody picked us to win.
Yeah.
Nobody picked us to win, and I don't think anybody's going to pick Texas to win. But
no, no one's going to pick Texas to win. I will say it is good to get them early because they're very unsettled at the quarterback position, and they likely still will be in week 2. They've got Jalen Milroe, kid out of Houston, was one-time Texas commit under Herman, flipped to Alabama, and then they've got the kid Ty Simpson, who's a 5-star freshman. But I believe I didn't see the spring game, but I heard there was a lot of turnovers by both quarterbacks.
On the defensive side of the ball for Texas, any players that popped that we haven't talked about, or anybody that you just want to mention so that OU fan has an eye on them?
Yeah, I do. The freshman linebacker Anthony Hill. We talked about him. He's a 5-star kid out of Denton Ryan. Denton Ryan is a factory, right?
Listen, no joke.
We both got dudes from Denton Ryan on our team, right? 5-star linebacker. They use him as a situational pass rusher. Kind of like, I don't know if you watched LSU play at all last year, but they had a freshman linebacker by the name of Harold Perkins. He's out of the Houston area. He's a 5-star kid. Gets to LSU, and I think he had like 10 sacks or something last year as a true freshman. as a rusher at linebacker.
So they basically so they basically took out any need to have to read or adjust to the play. You have one job: go get the quarterback.
Exactly. See ball, hit ball. Like you talked about wanting from your defense.
Yes.
On our last episode.
Yes. Yes.
So they unleashed him a bit, and he was getting pressure. I mean, they had running back stepping on to block him. He's just throwing on the side. So he's an exciting one to watch. I will say this though, I'm a little bit concerned about the overall depth at linebacker for Texas, but he is a bright spot. And of course, Jalen Ford, the other linebacker, was third team All-American last year.
But you lose Overshown, right? Is he stepping into? Is he stepping into Overshown's? Is he the starter? Is he the day one starter?
I don't know if he's going to be the starter. I think we'll see how quickly he can learn the defense because you just can't unleash him every single play, right? Because he's going to be out of position. But he's going to be a guy who plays a lot. I mean, I think he'll be in on the first drive of the first game, so he might not be a starter. He's going to be a guy that's going to be out there a lot because he's just different.
Anybody in the secondary?
In the secondary, Brian Watson was there last year. He's a tall 6'3" corner. Yeah. He was there last year. He looks good. I think he's going to have a great season. He was probably the best guy I saw out there in the secondary. So, also up front, Ethan Burke, the Westlake kid, defensive end, was actually committed to Michigan to play football and lacrosse at Michigan. Texas was able to flip him before signing day. He looked good out there too, so I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do.
Lacrosse is always a really weird sport for me to watch.
Yeah,
I want to try to appreciate it as a sport because I understand that people play it and it's like a big thing and it's a deal, like in certain pockets of the country. And like soccer, even though I'm an American football fan, I try to appreciate soccer, and I think I think I've gotten to the point where I appreciate it now and can understand some of the nuance of what makes the game unique and special. But like for lacrosse, I feel like it's a lot of one guy running around with the ball, like in his net, in his stick. Like there rarely looks like there's any ball movement, or it's like he runs around and around and around and around and shoots.
Yeah. But the fact that they can pass that thing so far when they do throw it and catch it in that little thing is pretty impressive, man.
Yeah, but I think they should pass it more is what I'm saying. Like they don't seem to have a lot of ball movement.
It needs to be like soccer.
Or basketball, right? It seems like it's give it to the fast guy. He runs around and around, and he can go behind the goal, which I always think is kind of weird, but that's fine. Goes behind the goal, and then he just slings it in, and I don't know.
I'm never really. I mean, it gets to that part of the year where they have the tournament, so it's kind of on that slow part of the year on ESPN. Yeah. You watch it, you always find yourself watching a few minutes of it, and that's about it. So
let me tell you this: I would rather watch ultimate frisbee than lacrosse.
I can see that.
Let that sink. Yeah. They're moving the ball. Yeah. They're making plays. You can't do it on your own. You have to throw it.
Yeah.
Who would? I think that's a great sport. I wish Oklahoma and Texas had club. Maybe they do. I don't know. Texas. You think they got a club team?
Ultimate frisbee. Yeah, man. Oh, ultimate frisbee. I don't know, man. So yeah, I'm sure we just see it was pretty popular sport. Couple more names though, man.
Okay, yeah, sorry.
Okay.
This is what happens. This is what happens sometimes when you start talking about Texas defense. It just kind of goes, But I'm here for it. Go ahead.
Really, because that shutout looked pretty good last year.
Yeah, when you run a tight end at quarterback, you should shut us out. But go ahead.
Hey, that game plan, man.
That was terrible.
We gotta find out about that one day.
So bad.
Jonte Cook, man. 5-star freshman receiver. He's built very similar to Xavier Worthy. He had 3 catches for 87 yards and a touchdown. Had a big 65-yard touchdown throw from Malik Murphy. So he's one to look out for this year. And on defense, he's been here for a while with Byron Murphy, defensive tackle. I think he's going to have a great season too. So
real quick on your receivers, is it going to be Worthy and the transfer from Georgia and the kids you just mentioned? Are those your 3 starters?
The 3 is going to be Worthy, the kid from Georgia, A.D. Mitchell, and Jordan Whittington's back.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. Yeah. Okay,
he'll be a good. You will see a lot of Jonte Cook, and also they have another freshman named DeAndre Moore out of California. who played a little bit, 5 catches, 44 yards in the spring game, dropped what would have been a long touchdown pass from Malik Murphy. So he's got some skills too. So we're looking forward to that. So receiver is definitely the position I'm most excited for with the entire team.
Which position freaks you out? Like you're kind of
the depth at linebacker. Well, there's really two. The depth at linebacker. I think starting will be okay. Well, whoever replaces Overshown, it could be, we got a guy named David Benda who's been around for a couple of years, but he's never started. We'll have him, and then of course we'll have Anthony Hill too. But so the depth overall, I'm still not sure about that. And then I'm still a little bit unsure about the interior of the offensive line. I like our tackles.
I thought we were bringing everybody back.
We are bringing everybody back, but our center Jake Majors, he has a lot of penalties, man. Weird snap infractions, things like that. Those pre-snap penalties, man, the drive killers. You guys had several of those last year.
Yes.
All right, you get some momentum going, it's first down. You're trying to run a hurry up, but then you get a false start or a snap infraction, then it's all slows down. So that's I got a little bit of concern there. It's not a panic yet. It's nowhere near a panic, but just a little bit of concern. We got some things we got to clean up.
Tomorrow, as of this recording, Thursday, April 27th, will be the first round of the NFL draft. Does Bijan Robinson go in the top 10 of the draft?
You know what? I think he should go in the top 10, but you just never know with NFL teams when it comes to running back. They have completely devalued the position, which I personally don't understand. But they devalued the position. But if there's anybody who can go in the first round, it's him, right? Have we seen a better running back since Saquon Barkley?
Well, no, there hasn't been. Two things. Number one, back to my question is, does he go in the top 10? I think the perfect landing spot for him is Philadelphia at 10. That offense, Jalen Hurts, everything they want to try to do there, I think that's really, really good for him. Number two, back to your point, though, that you made about the devaluing of the running back. You know what's so interesting is I agree that they've devalued the running back. But they've really more devalued the running back even more so on the second contract.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you can get a good running back, like a star running back in the first round, and you run him for the next 3 or 4 or 5 years, however long you have him for his rookie deal, and then you let him go. Like, why wouldn't you do that?
Yeah,
I know somebody in the top 10 is going to make money. He's not going to make as much money as he is on his second contract. So get the value for him, and then let somebody else have him after he's had 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, like the Cowboys, they cut Zeke Elliott this year.
Exactly.
Do you think that was a waste of time? No. He had a great career. His first 2 years in the league, he led the NFL in rushing.
Yeah, I don't know why you wouldn't want to capture that talent at its peak, right? If we all agree that running backs have a very short shelf life, then capture some of that at its peak. Now, listen, if you've got needs along the offensive line or the defensive line and all those dudes are there, I get it. And quarterbacks are always going to be more heavily weighted and blah, blah, blah. But I'm just saying, when you get a talent like Saquon Barkley, like he has single-handedly held the Giants together as a franchise for the last 4 or 5 years. Like, if he had any kind of support offensively, and they did better this year, but if he had any kind of support, I mean, can you imagine how good he would have been? So to take a team like Philadelphia or I don't even know who else is picking in the top 10. Let me see. But even like the Bears. I mean, I know they're looking at an offensive tackle, and maybe they need help on the offensive line. But another dude that could take some pressure off of Justin Fields would be a dude like Bijan, man. To be able to have that, he catches the ball in the backfield. He's a good pass blocker. He's an all-around good back. It's really weird to me, though, to your point, that he's going to slip. McShay's got him slipping all the way 18 to the Detroit Lions, and I think, would you have him at?
Yeah, Bucky Brooks on NFL Network has him going 14 to New England. I think if you're the Philadelphia Eagles, right, you already have one of not the best rosters in the entire NFL.
Yes.
And you have the 10th pick based on a trade you did from the Saints. You got to take him, right? You were this close to winning the Super Bowl. This guy could put you over the top. If you imagine that offense, Jalen Hurts, Bijan Robinson, and you got A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith at receiver.
Well,
Dallas Goedert at tight end.
It was unstoppable last year.
Mm-hmm.
But they lost their running back, right?
Yeah.
So I think you got to replace it. I don't think you want to. I don't know.
Miles
That's just me.
Here's what I think. Honestly, I know I'm a homer. I know I'm biased, but I genuinely feel like he's going to be one of the best running backs in the NFL, and I believe it's going to happen as a rookie. I think he's going to have the same type of impact that Adrian Peterson had as a rookie, that Saquon Barkley had as a rookie. That's the kind of impact I believe he's going to have this year. He's going to be a Pro Bowl level player as a rookie. That's how good I think he is.
He's not as good as Adrian Peterson.
I'm not saying he's as good as Adrian Peterson, because Adrian Peterson is not human.
But I would.
But he's going to have a similar impact as a rookie.
I will grant you Saquon Barkley for sure, though. Like, for real. I think he's different than even like a Todd Gurley, though. You know, I think he's just a little more dynamic. I mean, I think he's definitely a better running back than like Joe Mixon, and they love Mixon at Cincinnati.
Yeah,
that was, you know,
they haven't been able to get the best out of him though from a running, you know, with the running game. I think that offensive line might have a lot to do with it too. He doesn't seem to have a lot of time when there are a lot of holes when he gets the ball.
Oklahoma, the only person that was even in consideration for a top round or first round pick was Anton Harrison, but in the latest mocks, he's dropping into the middle of the second round. Some of them have him a high third rounder.
We'll see, man. He's an offensive lineman, man. I think he's a good player. It wouldn't surprise me if he snuck into the bottom of the first round at all.
It's got to be a team that just has a need, you know, and it's right there, and they haven't, and the mock guys didn't figure, you know.
But their tackles are hard to find, man.
Mims, Eric Gray, Wanye Morris are all projected fourth rounders, and then Jalen Redmond for Oklahoma is on the bubble of even being drafted. The only one of those that I still contend should have stayed is Marvin Mims. I think Marvin Mims makes more money if he stays another year.
Do you?
I think he moves a fourth round pick. Marvin Mims was a great receiver. Like, he's a talented receiver. And if he could like have moved up to the second round, I mean, it's a lot of money, dude. It's a lot of money over a 3-year period, you know? So I still think that was the one.
To see where he goes, man, because I think either way, right? Wherever he goes, I think he's going to be a fan favorite. I think he's going to make an impact as a receiver and potentially as a returner.
What other Longhorns are going to be drafted this weekend?
We'll have Roschon Johnson, right? The other running back. DeMarvion Overshown will be drafted. I'm not sure where. You know, you hear everything from third round to fifth round with him. You know, he's a rangy guy. He's still learning the linebacker position. He's a pretty dynamic athlete for the linebacker position. He's still learning. I think he's going to be a great special teams player right away. That's how he makes an impact right away while he continues to develop at linebacker.
I could see Overshown being like one of those players that never really popped at Texas, but get into the league with a good defensive coordinator and a good scheme and be like a really exciting player in the league.
Yeah.
Does that make
No, you're exactly right.
It's kind of like some of OU's secondary players, you know, like they were so bad
and stuff.
Yeah, and then they get in the league and they make plays and they
instant starters. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so I really think I think Overshown has got just the build and the athleticism that if he can get with the right, like I said, the right scheme, right coordinator, right position coach, that Texas fans going like, where was this at Texas? You know what I mean? How come I never saw this against Oklahoma? You know, I could see that from him. I don't see that in Oklahoma's side of the things. Eric Gray could be a good back.
Man, you know I like Eric Gray. I like Eric Gray more than you ever liked Eric Gray. I think he's going to be good, man. I think he's going to be all right.
You think he's big enough? You think he's big enough?
I think he's fine. I mean, he's on the smaller side. Do you know what he weighed in at the combine?
I have no idea.
Let me check it out real quick. He's a guy. I like his versatility. I think he can catch the ball well.
While you're pulling that up, let me give a shout out to Ryan Hibble and the OU men's golf team, Big 12 champions, second year in a row. Listen, dude, he's the best college golf coach in the country. It's not even close. He's really, really good. That team is going to be really, really good. They could have, should have won it last year, made it to the match play, but they'll be there again this year. And Texas did not show out in the. They finished like 4th in the Big 12.
Yeah, I mean, what were they, 2 years or last year, right? They won the national championship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
I'm excited about golf.
Eric Gray, by the way, at the combine, measured in at 5'9" and a half, 207 pounds.
Who is that compared to in the league?
You know, I don't really see a comparison, but I don't know. I'm not sure.
You know,
I see Miles Sanders was his comparison here on NFL Network.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we'll get, you know what? Get drafted by the Cowboys. Get drafted by the Cowboys and back up the kid who's Pollard. Back up Pollard, right?
Yeah.
I'm a nice spot for him.
Hoping Pollard recovers okay from that injury he had in that Tampa game. That was bad.
Yeah. Well, they must think he did if they were willing to cut Zeke or trade him or whatever they did to him.
Yeah, they cut him. I don't even know if he's on a team yet.
I thought he got picked up by Denver.
Okay. We'll see, man. I still think he's got a little bit left, but I mean, his best days are certainly behind him. But again, man, he was so good with Dallas. I've got no problem with Zeke Elliott and how it went for him, especially during those first 4 years.
Well, now I don't see where he got picked.
No, he's not on the team yet. Yeah, no, he's still out there.
Oh.
But he's probably just waiting. I think he's just – it'll probably be – and teams are probably going to wait till after the draft, right? Once the draft is over, that's probably when some of these free agent guys will start signing, because they don't want to sign somewhere and then they draft a guy who's, you know.
Maybe it was Samaje. Did Samaje Perine get signed by Denver? I think he did. Maybe that's who I'm thinking of. I mean, I know that they're different players, but I know somebody got
signed. No, you're right. You're right about that. Yeah. Denver Broncos.
Yeah, Denver Broncos. Yep. So, well, anyway, man, listen, dude, hearing that spring game and watching it just got me excited enough to go, why the heck do we have to wait so long for football? Like, dude, we got May, June, July, all of August. I mean, dude, that's 4 months.
Yeah.
4 months, dude. I don't listen. I got when I saw the defensive players making plays. Maybe I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. Maybe I'm just too excited. I know I'm a fanboy. I get all that, but dude, I'm ready for some football already.
Me too, man. I'm excited for Texas defense this year. I think, third year. The great thing for Texas is that, it's the first time in a long time that they've had staff continuity for a while. With the last two coaches, with Charlie Strong and with Herman, they're just constantly new offensive coordinator, new defensive coordinator, new this, new that. Just every year, and it's like guys are getting fired. It's kind of like these are guys leaving for, promotions or better jobs somewhere else.
Yeah. So
at least so far with Sark's staff, the only guy they've had to replace is a running backs coach who left because he's now the head coach at Temple University, Stan Drayton. That was after the first year. They had former OU players. That's just our choice at running backs coach. He's done a good job too. So, yeah, man, bring on the season.
Let's go, Kevin. Great show. Great 53rd episode. Let's get fired up for the draft tomorrow. Boomer.
Okay.